In the rich tapestry of audio history, the late 1960s and early 1970s ushered in a golden age of high-fidelity sound. Yet, as the years rolled on, some of the beloved features of that era quietly faded into obscurity. Today, we're unearthing 25 stereo features from the 1970s that disappeared and examining why they mattered so much to listeners like you and me. Stick around for the last few entries, they'll reveal some surprises. Each feature tells a tale of its own demise, with the real reason lurking just beneath the surface. Number 25. Real wood cabinets. Imagine those luxurious, wooden enclosures carved from beautiful mahogany or walnut, gleaming under the warm glow of overhead lamps. The rich, tactile experience of running your fingers over the smooth surface was an invitation to sit back and enjoy. Real wood cabinets were the hallmark of quality and craftsmanship, often signifying that the audio equipment inside was just as impressive. Music lovers admired these cabinets not just for their aesthetic beauty but also for their acoustic properties, enhancing the warmth of sound. But by the early 1980s, the shift towards mass production and cheaper materials took over. Manufacturers sought to cut costs, leading to the rise of vinyl-covered particle board. It was a cost-cutting measure that ultimately stripped the soul from home audio. Number 24. Tuning flywheels. There was something magical about those flywheels, whose heavy, polished surfaces brought a sense of engagement to tuning in your favorite FM station. The tranquil, gentle resistance as you adjusted the dial felt like an act of careful craftsmanship, making every station feel like a discovery. Audiophiles adored that sweet moment when the dial settled on a clear signal, amplified by the smooth, effortless glide of the mechanism. However, by the mid-1980s, digital tuners became the industry standard. Flywheels were seen as liabilities when competing with precision and speed, leading to their disappearance. The convenience of electronics overshadowed the tactile experience, prompting listeners to trade the charm of knobs for the predictability of buttons. Number 23. Backlit dials. Picture sitting in a dimly lit room, the glow of your stereo's backlit dial illuminating the darkness, casting a soft halo that beckoned music lovers to bask in their favorite sounds. Those dials had an artful way of enhancing the stereo's aesthetic, while also offering practicality. Users could easily tune into stations without wrestling with the dimness of the night. They were part of the atmosphere, offering both form and function. But as the 90s approached, sleeker designs favored minimalism and LED displays. Style over substance became the mantra, and the warm glow of backlit dials flickered out. The industry shifted its focus toward new lighting technologies that prioritized energy efficiency over nostalgic beauty. Number 22. Loudness buttons. A simple press on that enticing button and the room would surge to life with a full-bodied soundscape. Users cherished how these loudness contours boosted lower frequencies at lower volume levels, creating immersive experiences even in late-night listening sessions. Every music collection found a new dimension, as jazz, rock, and classical seemed to crackle with added vigor. Yet, in the early 1980s, the rise of equalizers and other sophisticated audio processing tools rendered the loudness button less necessary. It was a shift towards a more customizable listening experience that, although effective, ultimately stripped a layer of simplicity that many consumers loved. The once significant button gradually became a relic of the past. Number 21. Real VU meters. The sight of those dancing needles, gracefully reacting to the audio waves with a fluid elegance felt like watching a heartbeat in slow motion. These analog marvels provided not just a visual cue of sound levels but also a connection to the music that resonated deeply with creators and listeners alike. Each flicker told a story, an invitation to feel the rhythm as it pulsed through your speakers. However, the advent of digital meters changed everything. Digital displays appeared cleaner and more precise, but they lacked the charming personality and warmth of those classic analog meters. By the time we reached the early 1990s, VU meters had largely disappeared, replaced by an era that prioritized convenience and sleekness over charm. Number 20. Tape monitor loops. A tape monitor loop connected your stereo system to your reel-to-reel tape deck, allowing for seamless recording and playback, an essential feature for many audio enthusiasts. You could record live music, mix tracks, or simply enjoy the rich warmth only analog tape could provide. People adored the ability to fine-tune their listening experience and craft their own mixes right in their living rooms. Unfortunately, by the late 1980s, the digital audio revolution swept through, leading to a decline in tape use as compact discs took over the market. With stereo equipment becoming more compact and user-friendly, tape monitor loops were deemed unnecessary. Tape enthusiasts lost their beloved feature as the world advanced and the art of analog recording faded. Number 19. Mic mixing inputs. Those beloved inputs allowed music lovers to connect a microphone directly to their home stereo, making spontaneous recordings or hosting karaoke nights a breeze. It fostered community, forming intimate bonds over shared musical experiences from family gatherings to Friday night jam sessions. Many cherished those moments spent performing, backed by their favorite records, as they embraced their inner rock stars. However, in the wake of the multi-track recording boom and the rise of home studio setups that focused on computer-based recording software, mic mixing inputs became less desirable in the evolving audio landscape. The lure of streamlined technology and simplified setups slowly phased out these inputs, leaving casual performers in the dust. Number 18. Quadraphonic outputs. The idea of immersing yourself in a 4-speaker sound experience was nothing short of revolutionary. For many audiophiles, quadraphonic output was an invitation to step into the music, feel the instruments surrounding them, and partake in a concert environment from their living room. Capable of transporting listeners, it was a brief spark of innovation that promised to shift the trajectory of home audio. Yet by the mid-70s, this ambitious format encountered too many obstacles, and manufacturers struggled to standardize technology. The rise of digital audio formats and stereo systems made quadraphonic sounds feel like an outdated relic, diminishing interest and leading to its decline. What was once a thrilling experiment fell victim to fragmentation and confusion. Number 17. Speaker A+B switching. This feature allowed listeners to connect multiple speakers using simple switching, blending different sounds to create their own personalized audio environments. Many treasured the ability to adjust their listening experience based on mood or occasion, whether hosting a loud party that called for more power or a quiet evening desiring subtlety. The innovation of Speaker A+B switching provided that flexibility, enhancing the relationship between user and audio. But as stereo systems became increasingly integrated and more streamlined, manufacturers pushed for simplicity. The desire for sleek and minimal designs overshadowed versatility. By the mid-1980s, Speaker A+B switching faded away, leaving more elaborate setups accessible only to dedicated audiophiles. Number 16. Phono stages. Phono stages were the unsung heroes of vinyl playback, diligently amplifying the low-output signals from turntables to make them compatible with standard inputs. This added layer elevated the listening experience, ensuring that every note rippled through the speakers with clarity and warmth. Enthusiasts adored the richness it brought to their treasured vinyl collections. However, as digital audio and compact discs became the dominant forms of music consumption in the late 1980s, dedicated phono stages became less common. With the push for universal audio solutions, the industry began bundling phono stages directly into integrated amps, effectively relegating standalone units to the niche market of vinyl purists. Number 15. FM muting. The promise of crisp, clear radio reception kept listeners glued to their favorite stations, while FM muting helped eliminate distracting noise and static between frequencies. Tuning in to hear your favorite songs became a joyful experience, with smooth transitions and minimal interruptions enriching the overall enjoyment of radio. However, this feature gradually fell out of favor as digital radio began to expand throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s. The rise of clearer, more stable broadcasting led to the belief that muting issues were no longer a concern. Listeners who preferred a seamless experience instead sought more advanced digital solutions and left FM muting in the dust. Number 14. Click-stop volume. The delightful sensation of the click-stop volume control was a tactile experience like no other. Each satisfying click offered users a level of control, allowing them to gradually fine-tune their sound at increments. It evoked a sense of intimacy with the equipment, enhancing that emotional connection to music. However, as the world shifted into the digital age, sleek and smooth volume knobs gradually replaced the click stops in the 90s. Manufacturers aimed for modern aesthetics, prioritizing streamlined designs that were more compatible with contemporary lifestyle impacts. The resonant simplicity of click-stop volume control slowly faded, right alongside the visceral pleasure of that thumb-powered adjustment. Number 13. Silver faceplates. There's something unmistakable about those iconic silver faceplates, gleaming under the glow of warm lights in a cozy listening room. Their timeless beauty resonated with audiophiles, creating a distinct aesthetic that captured the essence of high-fidelity sound. Customers loved the way these models added a touch of elegance to both their audio experience and their homes. Unfortunately, as the 90s approached, manufacturers began transitioning to more modern, darker finishes, often opting for black or charcoal tones, to reflect a more contemporary feel in home decor. Silver faceplates retreated into history, leaving behind the visual signatures of a bygone era. Number 12. Glass dial covers. Consider the striking sight of those lustrous glass dial covers, glistening as you adjusted the stereo settings with expert precision. They exuded a sense of quality and sophistication, enhancing the aesthetic of vintage stereo systems and adding a layer of protection to the inner workings. Music lovers loved the way they complemented the finely crafted details that made stereo gear truly worthwhile. However, as audio equipment manufacturers sought to cut costs and simplify production methods, glass dial covers slowly gave way to cheaper plastic alternatives. In pursuit of efficiency and lower prices, the industry lost yet another cherished tactile element that had so elegantly framed the experience. Number 11. Headphone jacks that drove real amps. The thrill of plugging in your favorite headphones and feeling the rush of crisp, powerful sound was uniquely euphoric. Real amps outputted just the right amount of driving force for those rich moments, allowing listeners to connect deeply with music like never before. Audiophiles relished the unparalleled immersion these strong headphone jacks afforded, turning casual listening into an experience filled with emotion and energy. But by the mid-1990s, portable audio devices and headphones began to dominate the market, rendering high-quality headphone outputs a luxury fewer cared for. As manufacturers streamlined their designs for cost-effectiveness, the days of dedicated headphone amps faded into memory. Number 10. Tone controls. The simple elegance of tone controls helped audiophiles shape their sonic landscape, allowing users to boost or cut bass and treble frequencies precisely as their heart desired. Enthusiasts loved playing with these settings, customizing their audio experience whether enjoying the warm thump of jazz or the piercing clarity of classical music. Yet as the world ventured further into the digital realm with advanced equalizers, tone controls gradually lost their significance throughout the late 1990s. Manufacturers began phasing them out in favor of fixed equalizer setups, focusing on convenience rather than the joyous exploration that once fostered creativity in sound design. The loss of tone controls marked the shift from a dynamic experience to a more uniform listening culture. Number 9. Amplitude modulation, AM, stereo broadcasting. AM stereo broadcasting promised improved audio quality, bringing clear, luscious sound to radio enthusiasts within the home. Being able to enjoy programs with richness elevated the entire radio experience. Users relished the transition from traditional AM radio to a stereo format that delivered more depth and complexity in sound. However, as FM became the dominant radio format, with clearer sound and better reception, AM stereo struggled to compete. By the end of the 1970s, support for AM stereo dwindled, with major broadcasters abandoning the technology altogether. The once great promise of AM stereo went silent as listeners gravitated toward stronger signals and superior quality FM stations. Number 8. Banana plugs. Those delightful little connectors offered a straightforward and user-friendly way to connect speaker wires to receivers. Banana plugs made the once tedious task feel elegant. From the satisfying click of connection to the reliable transmission of sound, they were a favorite among many audiophiles. But as home audio systems evolved, manufacturers began consolidating audio and speaker connections. The industry gravitated towards proprietary systems that simplified the installation process, rendering banana plugs largely unnecessary. By the late 1990s, connectors that once embodied the spirit of DIY and craftsmanship disappeared while the world made space for compatibility over tradition. Number 7. Détente knobs. The tactile response of a détente knob, with its notches preventing unintentional adjustment, provided a comforting sense of control. Whether fine-tuning volume, balance, or equalizer settings, users cherished the satisfaction of knowing exactly where their settings resided at any given moment. This deliberate interaction deepened the connection between the listener and their audio equipment, an intimate dance of precision and emotion. However, as technology transformed and soft-touch controls took the spotlight, those cherished détente knobs vanished from most users' experiences. The quiet appeal of consistent tactile feedback made way for sleek touch-sensitive controls that, while modern, lacked the satisfying dynamism that only mechanical detents could provide. Number 6. Signal strength meters. The thrill of tuning into your favorite radio station while watching the needle dance across the signal strength meter was an exhilarating experience. Nothing could rival that feeling of anticipation as the needle surged and settled, offering a real-time glimpse of your connection to the airwaves. Listeners adored this feedback. It provided reassurance that their chosen station was within reach. However, by the dawn of the digital age, the introduction of digital tuners and more stable frequencies diminished the need to visually gauge signals. Signal strength meters disappeared slowly, as radios transitioned towards streamlined designs that placed the focus on aesthetics over an evolution of design that once connected users to waves of sound. Number 5. High-cut filters. The high-cut filter provided listeners with the ability to eliminate the annoying hiss that sometimes accompanied tape and vinyl playback, delivering a smoother listening experience. Audiophiles relished the extra layer of depth as they tuned in or dropped the needle. Every click, crackle, and hiss became manageable. It made listening to music not just clearer but altogether more enjoyable. Yet, as sources shifted toward pure digital formats that largely eliminated tape hiss, high-cut filters fell out of fashion. As the industry pushed for simpler designs in audio equipment, high-cut filters were often omitted. What was once paramount, now deemed frivolous in the face of unwavering digital clarity. Number 4. Balance controls. The joy of balancing audio levels between left and right speakers was a small yet empowered act that connected listeners more intimately with their sound environments. Audiophiles reveled in the ability to correct room acoustics or individual speaker discrepancies at the turn of a knob. This feature cultivated a nurturing relationship between listeners and their auditory space. Yet, as multi-channel setups became standard, the industry saw a decline in balance controls, deeming them unnecessary in favor of integrated systems. The convenience of automated balancing algorithms took over, and listeners were left with less hands-on control in the transition to a more technologically reliant audio landscape. Number 3. Variable speed turntables. The freedom to adjust playback speed on a vinyl record offered a creative edge that drew listeners into the heart of their record collections. Aspiring DJs experimented with varying speeds to create new soundscapes, manipulating tracks with the flick of a wrist. This allowed music lovers to discover music anew, reshaping their listening experience into an intimate journey. However, as digital music formats gained momentum, the demand for variable speed turntables waned. The push for standardization led to the elimination of this imaginative feature as users gravitated toward simplicity over the complex experimentation that characterized previous generations. Number 2. Tube amplifiers. The smooth warmth of a tube amplifier is widely celebrated as one of the most beautifully lush sound signatures in audio history. Its intricate circuitry lent a character that made everything from jazz to orchestral pieces come alive in an ethereal way. Listeners became captivated by the raw emotions evoked through each note. However, as modern solid-state amplifiers became more efficient, reliable, and affordable, the allure of tube amplifiers faded into the background. The escalating costs of production and maintenance drove many consumers away, leading to a sharp decline in tube usage by the late 1990s. What had once been a vibrant staple in audio setups quietly vanished, leaving behind nostalgia and whispers of warmth. And now, number 1. The big one, channel separation. Channel separation offered the extraordinary experience of immersing yourself in the spatial nuances of music, allowing listeners to explore songs in an unparalleled emotional dimension. Imagine hearing each instrument as if it were perfectly placed around you, drums coming from one side while vocals soared from another. It was a remarkable feature that music lovers savored, immersing them into their albums like never before. Yet, with the seismic shift towards multi-channel and surround sound formats in the late 1980s and early 1990s, traditional stereo channel separation transformed into a concept of the past. As the world consolidated audio formats, channel separation slipped quietly away, signifying the end of an exceptional era rooted effortlessly in connection and detail. From beautiful wooden cabinets to a world of channel separation, the evolution of audio technology has often come at the cost of beloved features now lost to history. Craftsmanship gave way to sleek design, as convenience and integration became new priorities. Each of these features embodied a deeper connection to the music we love, a sensory experience that has slowly morphed into streamlined solutions but left a lasting echo in the hearts of true enthusiasts.